where we're going to start today is we really got to get crystal clear on the vision that you hold, right? What exactly is this goal? Is this idea that you have? Because the bigger the vision and the more that we can connect to our purpose inside of that vision, the more we're going to be guided, the more we're going to make sure that we're building something that's ultimately in alignment with you and what you're feeling called to create for the world. Okay. From there, we've got to figure out who's the person who's actually produced that reality, right? What are their traits? What are their characteristics? What's the difference between you and between them? And then we've got to figure out how we can begin to embody that person today. Because the sooner we can start to show up as him or her who's produced those results, the sooner we're going to actually start to see things manifest in our reality and start to shift and take shape. Okay. And so that's the second phase of this, is who's producing that. And from there, what we've got to figure out is what action are they actively taking to facilitate this transformation. So what are the top 3 things that they're doing every day to make sure that the action they're taking is in alignment with the life and the vision that they're looking to produce? And so that's really the basic framework for today and where we're going. Okay. And so I can't wait to get started. This is one of my favorite topics. And honestly, don't skip this part. Don't fast forward. Look, pro tip is watch this video on 2x speed. That's the best way that you're going to be able to move quickly through this program, but also make sure that you're not missing anything important. And before we get started, if you're not already connected with me on social media, go ahead. I'm going to link my socials below. That way we can stay connected. And also feel free to join my newsletter so that you get weekly updates with things that I don't share in this program, don't share in my podcast, and don't share on social media. So with that being said, let's get started. So throughout this training, I want you to keep 3 things in mind. Okay. Number 1 is dream big. I don't want you to think about what your mom might think, what your best friend might say to you based on the things that you're looking to cultivate and create in your life. This is a safe space. This is a beautiful place where I want you to think in levels of 10x. So if you think right now you can hit this income level, I want you to 10x it. If you think it's going to take you 10 years, I want you to think about how you can do it in 1, right? The goals that we have are meant to pull us out of the smallness, right? They're meant to change the way that we show up in the world. They're meant to facilitate transformation in our lives. And the only way we can do that is by allowing ourselves to dream big without limits, without restraints, in levels of 10x. Yeah. You are limitless. You are the creator of your life. And the only thing that's holding you back from that is the fact that you aren't allowing yourself to have everything that you desire. And so we're going to get clear today on what it is that you ultimately want. And as we're going through this, if there's another part of you, if there's that little voice in your head, which I know it's probably going to come up for most of you, as you hear that little tiny voice that's like, oh, but you couldn't have that because, or that's going to take too long, or you're going to have to overwork, or what if they say, any of these little things that start to come up in your head, I want you to make sure that you have a pen and paper and a journal beside you and you can take note, because those thoughts, those feelings, that is ultimately what's going to hold you back from building this. So it's going to come up when we're doing this exercise, and that's okay. Allow it to, because that's what's going to show you where you're ultimately not free. Your vision, it's got to be a vision or a goal worth changing for. Your vision is meant to change who you are. The interesting thing is this vision that we all have, this goal that we're seeking to achieve, really what it's meant to do is change who you've become during the process. Achieving the goal is never really the actual goal, but it's who you've become along the way. And so our vision is meant to act as a North Star. Our vision guides us forward in business decisions, in setting goals, and on staying focused inside of challenges that are going to come up, right? So our vision is just meant to make it so we can make decisions with ease, knowing that they're in alignment with what we're ultimately creating. And so any decision that you make that's not in alignment with that is going to take you off the course. Right? And so right now, we've got to get super clear on what this vision actually looks like so that you can be guided moving forward in every decision that comes up from here on out. Okay? If you haven't already done so, below this video, you're going to actually see a link to a worksheet. So if you have a pen and paper and you prefer to use a journal that way, totally cool. Go ahead and do that. If you would prefer to follow along and use the document that I've created, the workbook for this session, go ahead and find it in the resources linked below this video, and you can follow along there. Just go ahead and make a copy for yourself. Okay. So this vision is sacred to you. You are supposed to think big. You are supposed to think in levels of 10x, because the current version of you that's sitting here listening to me today you've not achieved that vision yet. Therefore, you are not yet the person who has cultivated those results. And so the vision is meant to be bigger than you. Allow it to be. That's exactly the way it's meant to be. And if you have a vision right now that feels like something you could achieve this week, it's not big enough. It's meant to change you. It's meant to push you. It's meant to mold you. Allow it to do that. Your vision holds the key. Your vision is exactly what you need to get clear on before you take another step forward. And if you spend all day connecting to your vision today and you pause me right now and you don't come back until tomorrow because you need to get clear on your vision, then I encourage you to do so. Because without clarity of vision, we're lost. There's nothing to strive for, nothing to accomplish, nothing to move forward towards. I didn't have a vision for years of my life. And when I did, it was rocky. It was confused. There was multiple visions happening all at the same time, which meant that I was moving multiple directions, only an inch in every single direction, versus putting all that time, effort, and energy towards one and taking leaps and bounds forward. And so what I want you to do is make sure you are crystal clear on that today. And we're going to do that through a simple exercise found here. Yeah. So this is where I need you to have your pen and paper ready. I want you to imagine your business and your life at its peak. I'm not even going to put a time frame on this. It's just exactly what you imagine it to be. What would it feel like to be aligned with your purpose? What does that mean to you? I've had some incredible guests come onto my podcast, and I always ask them this question to start off the show. And we have heard some incredible answers. All of them are slightly different, right, in their own words, but they all have a connecting theme, and it's they want to be in control of their life. They want to have freedom. Really being aligned with your purpose for me is being able to have absolute control of your life, do something that you love each and every day, and make a living from it while impacting lives. That's being aligned with your purpose, in my opinion. But what would that feel like for you? Go ahead. As we go through these, feel free to pause me if you need to. What I'm going to do is actually link a YouTube video below. That's a really great soundtrack to journal through. So I recommend you actually pull that soundtrack open in another tab, pause me, right? Set a timer for these. So you'll take 2.5 minutes per new set of journal prompts. So go ahead and set a timer on your phone for 2.5 minutes. Pull open the journal music, pause me, and answer these questions. And don't stop your pen from moving until the timer stops. Okay. Then I want you to describe in detail the 10 specific goals that you have achieved in this vision. Right? Number 1, start with the amount of money you're making per month or per year. Then what's a natural byproduct of that? Where are you living? How much time are you working? What kind of car are you driving? What kind of house do you live in? What kind of shape are you in mentally, physically? Are you debt free? Right? I want you to list out 1 through 10, the 10 specific goals that you have achieved. Okay, welcome back. So at this point, you should be really clear on what it would feel like to actually be aligned with your purpose. What kind of business are you operating? How much are you working? How does life feel at its peak? Where are you living? Who are you spending your time with? Like, get crystal clear and paint this reality like you were about to direct a movie. It should be that clear. We're setting the stage. We're setting the scene for the life that we're looking to create and call in. And then from there, it's describing in detail the 10 specific goals that you have actually achieved within this life that are more tangible that we can start to work towards. Okay. Okay. From here, what we've got to get clear on, we've got the vision. We've got exactly what you intend to create and when you intend to create it by. But now we've got to get clear, who is the actual person who's already produced those results? Right? The journey towards our vision actually shapes who we become in this process. And it often, the version of ourselves who we become actually transcends the accomplishment of the goal itself. Right? It's not about getting to this there. It's about who we have become through the process of getting there. And so that should ease your mind for all of you who get hung up on the how or feel like you have to be behind the computer screen all day long, like crunching numbers, overworking, and don't give yourself time to fill up your own cup. This right here is what I want you to think of the next time that you need to shut it off. Go take a walk, go on a hike, go hang out with your family. It's the fact that when you realize it's really not about accomplishing the goal itself, but who you become on this journey of building the thing that actually matters, you'll realize that the time that you have off is even more important than the time that you have on. Because when you do come back, you're going to be even more clear, even more fired up, even more aligned with the version of you who's created that result than if you were to just stay behind your computer and keep working. Yeah? So to manifest our vision, we must embody the traits, the habits, in the mindset of the person who's actively living that reality. Right? Because like we said before, the version of you sitting here today listening to me has not achieved that reality yet. You do not have those results, meaning there's a different part of you, a different side of you, a different version of you that must be uncaged. That must be brought into your current reality to start making different decisions. So we've got to get clear on exactly who that person is. And honestly, you've got to spend most of your time in your life getting clear on who that is and how you can begin to shift the things that you're doing every day to be more like them. That's the how. That's what most of our time needs to be dedicated to doing. So even as we move forward in this program, even when I'm talking about the things you've got to set up and like building your community and launching your podcast and all the fun things that we have here in this portal, that's all great. I can give you the tactics and the strategies all day long, but if you're not actively becoming him or her, the version of you who's already cultivated those results, then no amount of tactic or strategy in the world is actually going to help get you those results because the transformation starts within. It starts within you. And that's out of my hands. It's only in you. And so that should be liberating. Because no matter what anybody says to you, says about you, says you're capable of, you know that it's not true. We're no longer worried about rejection, worried about acceptance, worried about anything from anybody else because all the magic, all the power that you ever needed to create your reality is within you. And all you've got to do is stop holding yourself back and realize that you hold the key. You hold the paintbrush to create this beautiful life for yourself. You've just got to start to use it and to use it to paint your reality. So here we go again. Let's go deep. What version of yourself do you need to step into in order to cultivate those results? Get more specific. What specific traits, skills, or mindset shifts will support you in achieving your objectives? What's this person like? Like, honestly, if we were to go through my journal right now, mine would say, so I'd have who is producing those results. I actually journal on this every single day. So I'll have a section that's connecting to the vision. Then I'll have a section of who is producing those results. Then I'll have a section which is action, which is exactly the framework I'm laying out for you today. So you can do that journal exercise every morning for 5 minutes or 50 minutes. It doesn't matter. At least connect to it for 5 minutes every morning after breath work. Yeah. So part two of this, we've got to get clear who's producing those results. So how my journal will look is I've got bullet points going down the list. It's like she makes decisions and sticks to them, right? Because I know the version of me at that level of success, that's what she does. What else does she do? She values investing in herself and her business. She values investing time in her family. She values the 4-hour work week. She sets up systems and automations to set herself free. Right? So start to brain dump exactly who this person is and what types of decisions they make. Right? She makes decisions quickly and effectively. Where you'll notice a couple of those I actually drug and dropped into the exercise of what do you intend to give back once you achieve it? A lot of that is actually drug in from exactly who I am becoming. Because I need to make sure that I'm connecting to that. Right? She refrains from exploring new ventures until she's optimized existing ones. Who here gets shiny object syndrome? Every entrepreneur ever, right? And so your version of you who's ultra successful and has created this life and business for themselves, they're focused, right? They're sharp. They know where they're going. They know how to get there. They have clarity. They're driven. They're focused. Maybe they have an entire team around them and they're truly taken care of. Right? They value speed, or they value efficiency over speed. You decide. So I want you to write this down in bullet form. Who is this person? Get clear, set your timer, turn on your music, and let's go. Is create this alter ego for yourself. So I love Wonder Woman. I think she is a straight up badass. And like, you've seen the movie, there's this time when she like comes out of the trench and literally goes onto the battlefield where all these men have been just like cowering in this trench for months, if not like a year, right? They've been in this trench for months and they haven't moved forward at all because they're all scared. They're terrified. And then here you have her within 10 minutes of being there. She jumps up on the battlefield and she just goes after exactly what she wants. And she moves things forward. She progresses because she knows what's right. She leads others by going first. So like she perfectly embodies, although I know she's got like superpowers, right? That kind of thing. But she really embodies, like her values embody exactly the values of the version of me who's produced my vision as well. And so maybe you can think of someone you've seen in a book or a movie, and you could just really grasp onto the image of them when you go to show up, right? This is creating an alter ego for yourself that you can start to embody when you take action as him or her. Right? So it's like, what would she do? Right? Now I'm really clear on who this avatar is and what my alter ego is. So now I just ask, like, what would she do? Like recently I had to make a decision of, like a platform shift that we were going to make. And I was like, okay, I was getting confused, honestly, because there's just so many choices of programs that you can use and systems you can use. And I was like, we need to get clarity on this. And when you're clear on your vision of what you're looking to create and you're clear on who's producing that, the decision actually gets simpler because it's like, okay, what would they do right now? Okay, well, they would do this. Okay, then that's what we're going to do too. Because any decision that you make that's out of alignment with those two pieces, it's just going to take you further and further away from your vision actually being real. Right? And That's the whole purpose of life, is to bring our ideas to life. It's to take this vision that we hold, like, and I've heard this before, and I'm not sure exactly who this came from, but it's like, if you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And so that's the idea here, is you have this beautiful vision in your mind, and now we're talking about how you can begin to hold it in your hand and how you can create this in your reality. Take action as them today. Prioritize the things that they would prioritize today. We have to prioritize tasks that are aligned with your vision and your values. That's it. Like, I honestly believe that people who are living out of alignment, they're in a job that they hate. They wake up and they feel like they're living a life that isn't authentic to them. They're not sure what to prioritize. They have too many hats on. They're spinning too many plates. Why is that? Because they're not allowing themselves to prioritize what's ultimately most important in their life. And why is that? They might not be sure what it is. And if they are sure what it is, there's probably some block or limiting belief that's like, oh, you can't have that now. Oh, what if people say no? What would your mom think? Okay. All of these things that start to add up brick by brick to create this brick wall that seems impenetrable. So what happens? What do? We shift gears. We do what's easy. We do the busy work. We keep doing what we've been doing day after day and hoping to get a different result, when the reality is you absolutely will not get a different result if you keep doing the same thing that you've been doing over and over again. That's like the definition of insanity, right? You've heard that before. And so what do we got to do? We've got to take different action if we want a different result. To start to take consistent action towards your vision, towards your goals every single day without distraction. Let's say you're watching this and you're in a full-time job right now, and your goal is to actually leave that job and go full-time in your business. What do you need to do every day? Prioritize the business before you go into your job. You're like, oh my God, Jamie, I'm already waking up at 5 a.m. Then I go to the gym. Then I do this thing and this thing and this thing. And then I go to work. Well, go to the gym later and prioritize your business, because you're going to fit the gym in regardless. That's a habit already, probably, right? I want you to just begin to prioritize what's most important in your life based on your goals, right? We all have the same amount of time every single day. It's just how you choose to prioritize it and use it that's going to make the most difference. There was one point on my journey, I was doing this journaling practice every day, right? Connecting to the vision, connecting to who I'm becoming, and the action that I'm taking. The action part wasn't there in the beginning. It's there now, though. And when it wasn't there, it was really easy to connect to the vision that I had every day. But then I started to get really frustrated. And I'm like, I've been writing down the same vision for the past 12 months. Why the fuck doesn't my life look any different? Well, now we know why. Because I wasn't taking action as her. And the action that I wasn't taking wasn't in alignment with the vision. When you have these three pieces in place, and when this is your only focus, you will manifest that life into your reality. When you spend most of your time focused on who you're becoming in the journey, you will take action as them. And when you take action as them, you get results like them. Like that. Set a timer, turn on some music, give yourself 2.5 minutes. I want you to consider the actions that you take to move towards your vision every single day. What are the top 3 actions that you should take each day? How will you hold yourself accountable to actually prioritizing them in your life? Vision is the art of seeing what's invisible to others. Your vision is something that you hold sacred to you. I don't see it. Your spouse doesn't see it. Your kids don't see it. Your family doesn't see it. Your friends from college don't see it. You see it. And only you who sees it in your mind can hold it in your hand by creating it in your reality. And you do that by getting clear on what that vision is, who you've become, and what action you need to take each day, and prioritizing that action moving forward. Others might not understand, In fact, most won't, because most are so held back by their own fears and insecurities that they've put that brick wall so high and so thick in front of them from actually moving forward that they don't even see their vision anymore. It is so clouded and foggy that they don't even know that there's another potential for their life that exists. And so if you go tell them today how excited you are to create this vision, they might come crashing down on you all the reasons why you can't do it. But if you can start to look at it like this, they're not telling you because they ultimately believe that you can't do it. They're telling you because they ultimately believe that they can't do it for themselves. And they're so terrified for themselves to take that first step that they're just projecting those fears, those insecurities, those limiting beliefs onto you. It has nothing to do with your worth. It has nothing to do with what you're capable of, because, my dear, you are capable of whatever you set your mind to. And so allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to hold this vision and connect to it every single morning. It's a quick prompt. What is the vision? Journal through it until you feel called to stop. I just journal out my 10 goals, the 10 goals that you've already created today. Write them down every day. Look like a psycho person. If I was to pick up your journal in a couple weeks, I should be like, wow, this person's crazy. She writes the same thing day after day after day after day. That's what it should look like. Okay. So what is the vision? Who is producing that? And what is the action you need to take? Not in general, but today. And 1, 2, 3 on your cue card. That's it. I'm going to leave you with that today. Keep going through this portal. Keep sharing your wins. If you feel called and you want to leave a takeaway, leave a takeaway in our community. What is your number one takeaway from today's lesson? Because guess what? Somebody else might be sitting here feeling something similar or close to the breakthrough that you may or may not have just experienced. And them just hearing what landed for you could be all the difference to changing the actual trajectory of their life. And if you're here, that means you want to impact lives. And you can do that by sharing your experience. Thank you for being here. And I can't wait to see you in the next